विहारी कुंज विहारी गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम जय राधा मदन मोहन राधा मदन मोहन राधा मदन मोहन राधे जय श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की, श्री श्री गौर निताई की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की, समावेत गौर भक्तवृंद की, कलियुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि बोल। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्वषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। So what is the heading of this? Why do we suffer when we try to enjoy? Let us make that. Why do we suffer? Good question, huh? We should do this in colleges also. Boys will want to know. Of course, only intelligent boys can ask this question. Fools cannot ask. A pig cannot ask this question. A pig will never ask, why am I eating stool? Why am I suffering in the ditch? Prabhupada says a pig must be happy because he is fat by eating stool and he is satisfied in that situation. So there is a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam which says, Narakastopi deham vai napumam tyaktumichati. He says that you are living even in a narakiya situation or a hellish situation. Thinks himself very satisfied owing to his foolishness. So such a foolish living entities cannot ask the question. They suffer and suffer and suffer. Although there are 28 types of hells explained in the Bhagavatam, 5th canto, towards the end. Actually, you don't have to go to hell to suffer. In this world itself, people live hellish lives. If you have some common sense, you can understand how people are ruining their body with sleeping pills and tranquilizers and painkillers, and people are stuffing their body with junk foods and liquor and smoke and drugs. All people are leading unclean lives with illicit connections, and malpractices in business transactions, and resorting to getting under the table money, bribing, killing. So many things are happening. So we can see a display of hell even in this world around us. So therefore, when we ask this question, why do we suffer when we try to enjoy? This is actually a question of a jignasu, an intelligent person. Just like our Sanatana Goswami asked Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Kene ke ami kene amai yare tapatra hai iha nahi jani shudra ke nanai. He said, Gramya vavahare pandit iha satyamani. He said, Apana rahita hita kichu nahi jani. He said, Ke ami, who am I? Ke amai are tapatrai. Why these threefold miseries are making me suffer? The adhyatmika, adibhaudika, adidaivika kleshas. Yaha nahi jani means I don't know. Shudra kenanoi. I am simply an illiterate fool. And I have no knowledge of why am I suffering in this world, although I am trying to enjoy. Correct, no? And then he says, Gramya Vyavahare Pandit, yes, Satyamani. Some people, seeing that I am occupying a big post, I have my palace because I am a minister. The two brothers, Rup Sanatan, one was a finance minister, one was a home minister. So the king, Nawab Hussain Shah, had given them two palaces. If you go to Bengal, even today you will see that. The palace is still there. So they were given so many gold coins, a salary, very big position, very highly respectable post. The king, for him, he considered them like right hand and left hand. The king Nawab Shah. Nobody's book can be published without these two great souls sanctioning them. So many people would come to the court to present their book, and then once they sanction, then only it will be published. So Rup Sanatan used to sit on a very elevated seat along with the king, with the looking very aristocratic. But although they had such post and position, drawing one full boatload of gold coins in those times, you can imagine, it's not some currency notes. It's a boatload of gold coins. That much they had earned. If you get one mushti of gold coin, your entire life you can spend. So much it will come. But they had boatload of gold coins. Such stinking rich situation they were in. But still he is saying, when I was in such a position, people come and praise me as a great pandita, great learned person. But I am such a fool that I also accept the statement of the people, considering myself a great pandita, he says. Which means he's saying, people call me pandita, but I consider myself a fool, he says. Why? Because I do not know answer to this question. Why am I suffering? Although I may be very scholarly, I may be very learned, I may speak big, big things, but I am a fool. I don't know how to surpass the suffering. Apanara hita hita kichu nahi jani, is saying. What is hita? Beneficial to me. What is harmful to me? I don't know. Why I don't Maya, and I get slaps and kicks. So in this way, I considered what is dangerous for me to be beneficial. And what is beneficial to me, like chanting the holy name and surrendering to Lord, that I consider as useless. That which is purposeful, I consider it useless. That which is useless, I chase after it. For example, when I was a small kid, and my mom took me to market. She showed me one hath gadi, where there were oranges and bananas and apples and all. So big apples were there. Huh? In those days, it was all natural. They won't put any chemicals and everything when we were small. When we were small kids, you know. So there's a big apple. Mother picked up and said, Beta, can we take 4 apples? Then I said, oh, I don't want this apple. I want the apple balloon. Next to that apple gadi, there was apple balloon fellow. How many have seen apple balloon? You've seen that? Correct, huh? That also looks big, reddish. Of course, there is one long balloon like this, and the another one is an apple balloon. Huh? So different children buy different ones. I was impressed with that. I was telling Mom, I want to get that one. She said, that will not nourish your body. Yeah, this will nourish you. I said, nothing doing. You take up for yourself. I want that. So that's like, apanara hita hita, kichunai jani. Huh? Actually, I cannot know that this apple, which my mother wants to purchase and give me, that will nourish me. Huh? I thought that big apple is better because it looks, out of the which one looks bigger? Balloon looks bigger. For conditioned soul, the Maya's glitter and glamour looks bigger, greater. And Krishna's mercy, the returning back to Godhead, that looks insignificant. And they have, the conditioned souls have no respect for, the spiritual items because they are foolish. They are blinded by the glitter of Maya, correct? That's why he's saying, Apanara hita hita kichuna injani. So my mother purchased both, this apple also, that apple also. By the time we went home, on the way only, that big apple balloon burst. Thud, finished. And in one moment I was wondering what happened. Such a big balloon I was holding in the hand. Now there's nothing in my hand now. My hand is empty now. It has become small, the two blasted balloon. It was only fit to be thrown in the dustbin. That's all. That is Maya. Maya will show up very big. Thud, finished. Everything. But other apple, when you eat that, that is nourishing to the body. It gives you nourishment. So the spiritual items give us nourishment, but we shy away from it. And the material items, they cheat us. They loot us and cheat us. That fellow looted our money and then he cheated us. Correct? We paid him money that we got something which we could only throw in dustbin. That's all. How much can you enjoy? How long can you enjoy with such a so-called looking apple? It's an imaginary apple, non-nourishing apple, show bottle apple, useless apple, bursting apple, good for nothing apple, correct? No? That is this apple balloon. So, apanara hita hita kichunai jani. I do not know what is good for me, what is bad for me. Mother being superior, she knows, but that is not good for you, this is good for you. Similarly, that's why he's asking Lakshati Mahaprabhu, you tell me what is good for me, what is bad for me. So he's asking the question. So, why do we suffer when we try to enjoy? Let us go step by step. You see, this is the first reason. We chase after the pain-producing objects, which are pregnant with suffering, Shastra say, owing to our enjoying mentality. So the material enjoyment is another name for misery. So, this is a very fundamental truth that is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. I'll show you the verse. All of you repeat this. Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkhayo evate adyantavantah kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha Read the translation, one of you who has the mic with you. An intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery, which are due to contact with the material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them. See, he's saying intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery. So, what is the source of misery? The contact of the senses with the sense objects is the source of misery, he says. Uh, yeah, read that. Material sense pleasures are due to the contact of the material senses, which are all temporary because the body itself is temporary. The liberated soul is not interested in anything which is temporary. Knowing well the joys of transcendental pleasures, how can the liberated soul agree to enjoy false pleasure? In the Padma Purana it is said, Brahmante yogino anante satyanande chidatmani iti rama pade nasau param brahma vidiyate. The mystics derive unlimited transcendental pleasures from the absolute truth. And therefore, the supreme absolute truth, the personality of God, it is known as Rama. The Bhagavatam 5.5.1, it is said, Nayam dekho dekha bhajam daloke kashtan kaman arhate vidubujam ye tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam shuddhyet yasmat brahma saukyam tvanantam. My dear sons, Rishabhadev is saying, there is no reason to labor very hard for sense pleasure while in this human form of life. Such pleasures are available to the stool eaters, hogs, which I told you in the beginning of the class, correct? No? Rather, you should undergo penances in this life by which your existence will be purified. And as a result, you will be able to enjoy unlimited transcendental bliss, he's saying. So, which means he says we should do penances. For example, restrain your senses from chase after sense objects, or allow police to put handcuff, stop you from chase after sense objects. Correct? No? So there are two things you can do. See, there are two boys. One boy got into illicit connection, for example. So the police puts a handcuff and takes him to the station, correct? No? You can see that. That means he crossed the limits of human behavior. So he is put handcuff. Another boy knows that he is feeling that attraction, but he restrains himself. So both are same age group boys. So one is controlled by the handcuff, another one is controlled by good intelligence, which he has received from the guru. Correct? No? So we have the choice how we want to restrain our senses. So we will show another verse, we will show you. See what the yogis do. The true yogis or learned transcendentalists are not attracted by sense pressures. Oh, that's very even greater, isn't it? They are not only not chasing after material pleasure, they are not even attracted, which are the causes of continuous material existence. For example, let me tell you, for example. Okay. A moon relative is very attractive from a distance, isn't it? Somebody shows you, I want to eat it, you come running, and then they see there are a lot of red ants moving over it. Will you eat it? I say, I don't know. No, thanks. Take it away. Similarly, the sense objects are attractive only from a distance. Like one disciple told Prabhupada, Prabhupada, look at the ocean, how beautiful it is. Prabhupada said, yes, beautiful, only from a distance. You come near the ocean, it's going to drag you inside and bury you, submerge you underwater, you will die. So, similarly, now an example Prabhupada gives in 18.38. If you go to, you know, let's go to that. Yeah, I can read this one. Vijayendriya samyoga yat tadagre amritopamam pariname vishamiva tat sukham rajasamspritam. Read the translation.
That happiness, which is derived from the contact of senses with their objects and which appears like nectar in the first but poison at the end, is said to be the nature of passion.
Yeah, Rajaguna pleasures are like nectar in the beginning. Eventually, they turn into poison. And one example Prabhupada gives. Read the purport. Little distance from the mouth. Yeah.
It's
Hmm? You have to that one. You have to adjust the. Yeah.
a young man and a young woman meet, and the senses.
No. Problem is in your this thing projector.
This is what.
No. But it won't come in there. This thing video. It won't come. It will come like this. Huh? Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
A young man and a young woman meet, and the senses drive the young man to see her, to touch her, and to have sexual intercourse. In the beginning, this may be very pleasing to the senses, but at the end, or after some time, it becomes just like poison.
See, propose so straightforward purport. You see, huh? Young boy will want to see and touch, but then it will be pleasing to the senses in the beginning, but at the end it becomes just like poison. Why? Read that.
They are separated or there is diverse. There is lamentation, there is sorrow, etc. Such happiness is always in the mode of passion. Happiness derived from a combination of the senses and the sense objects is always a cause of distress and should be avoided by all means.
Yeah. See, conditioned souls, they are charmed by the glitter, I said. For example, a young boy sees a beautiful young girl. Immediately, the boy imagines that I'm going to get pleasure out of it. So, by going near, by talking, by having some telephonic conversations, and striking a relationship, and then ultimately wanting to touch and embrace and kiss, and the result is marriage. And purpose is such affection results in baby. He says eventually. And when the baby comes, then two babies come, three babies come. Then you have to stand in the queue to admit them in the school. You have to stand in the ration to get, kerosene and rice and oil and sugar and everything. Hmm. Then one has to go to the job and make money, whether it's a rainy day or a sunny day. One has to slog hard. One has to travel here and there on duty. One has to construct a house. One has to get a car. So in this way, then these things, conditions all things. Oh, this is not what I wanted. I wanted only fun. So many of the young boys, they want to have romance with young girls and without any responsibility. Romance without responsibility. Oh, responsibility we don't want. Romance, yes, I that we like very much. That's called a playboy. You just enjoy life. And then they may be beaten up by somebody's father, or they may be shot dead also sometimes. People have died also like that. When one doesn't want responsibility, one only romance, then one can get into all kinds of trouble. So the one wants enjoyment, but one cannot. That's what he's saying. Therefore, what Krishna says here, you see, 23. Shaknoti kaivaya sodhum prak sharira vimokshanat kama krododbhavam vegam sayuktasya sukhi naraha. So this is next to that Yehi Samsprashaja Bhoga. 523, 522 and 523. See here he says Shaknoti means he is able to. Iha, in the present body. Yaha, a person who is. Sodhum means to tolerate. Shaknoti kaivaya sodhum. Prak sharira vimokshanat. Before the body drops to the ground, dead. Prak sharira vimokshanat. That means before the soul is released from the body, one should tolerate these urges, he says. Ashakan, the Sanskrit Ashakan means unable to. Shaknoti means able to. Yeah. So, Shaknoti iha eva. In your present body, if you're able to tolerate this urge before quitting the body, prak sharira vimokshana. And what do you have to tolerate? Kama, krodha, udbhavam, vegam. The desire and the anger generated from the urges, from the mind. Saha yukta sa sukhi naraha. He becomes happy. See, Bhagavad Gita, why is it so famous across the globe? These are sutras. Krishna's given one sutra is so deep in this literature. Let us see the translation. Before,
Before giving up this present body, if one is able to tolerate the urges of material senses and check the force of desire and anger, he is well situated and is happy in this world.
yeah, before giving up this present body, we should be able to tolerate the urges of the material senses, especially two senses, tongue and genitals. Prabhupada says in the Bhagavatam, many verses are there in Bhagavatam which focus on these two senses, the tongue and the genitals. If one can control these two urges, all the urges are subordinate to this. And then, the tongue has the urge to become angry and yell at somebody. First, you may speak angrily, then you may shout angrily, then you may raise your hand, then you may kick with your leg. Anger is manifested like that, isn't it? It starts with the tongue, isn't it? Speaking some ill words or something. Similarly, the desire. There are many desires one may have, but all the desires are centered around sex life, ultimately. One will see that. One wants to possess a bungalow. Why do you need a bungalow? Because you have to maintain a wife and children and everything. So, All your desires are subordinate to the sex desire, ultimately. So therefore, desire and anger. The tongue has two actions. One is to eat, another one is to speak. Correct? No? So when tongue is not controlled, one speaks angrily, yells and shouts and speaks gali, all those things. Similarly, when one's tongue is not controlled, one eats voraciously, or one eats too many opulent items. And then in this way, tongue becomes more and more uncontrolled. And a controlled tongue means one chants the holy name, glorifies the Lord, and one eats only prasad. So that is how one can keep this anger under restraint. Similarly, the desire also. If one understands the nature of material world and the contact of the sense objects and senses produces pain, ultimately it leads to more and more suffering. It's like pouring petrol in fire, Krishna says. The words dushpurena analena cha. What is that famous verse? Avritam jnanamete jnanino nityavairina kama rupena kaunteya dushpurena analena cha. He's saying, I have a great desire to write a book, pocket book on overcoming lust for the youths. Very, very important today. Why we should make a pocket book? Because other books they won't read very easily. They have no time. They're all the time with the mobile. But in this pocket book, I want to bring out all the secrets spoken in Bhagavad Gita about what is lust and how it works. Like we have to speak in plain language like Prabhupada. Simple language. And anybody with little common sense should be able to understand it without having to become a big philosopher. Because they understand the secret. It's a simple secret. See, there are certain things you do and learn. For example, you touch and you get pain immediately, like a shock in a socket. You put your two fingers in the socket, that immediately just shakes you, correct? No? Then next time when you put it, similarly, contact with the senses and sense objects produces suffering, correct? No? Then one should have that fear, correct? No? You don't know why, that why comes later, but at least one should know that one will get suffering. That much common sense is required. Why suffering is coming, that is the next question. But the first understanding, contact of the sense and sense objects produce suffering, and one has to tolerate the urges. That's the first basic lesson first. And then he's saying, before giving up this present body, if you are able to tolerate the urges of the material senses, which come in the form of desire and anger, correct? No? Tongue and genitals, I said. He is well situated and is happy in this world. I read that.
If one wants to make steady progress on the path of self-realization, he must try to control the forces of material senses. There are forces of talk, forces of anger, forces of mind, forces of stomach, forces of genitals, and forces of tongue.
Where is Prabhupada saying this from? Vacho vegam manasa krodha vegam jihva vegam mudaro pasta vegam etan vegan yo vishaheta dhiraha sarvam api imam prithvim sashishyat. First verse of Nectar Instruction. Prabhupada is quoting from there.
One who is able to control the forces of these different senses and the mind is called Goswami or Swami. Such Goswamis live strictly controlled lives and forego altogether the forces of senses. Material desires, when unsatiated, generate anger, and thus the mind, eyes, and chest become agitated. Therefore, one must practice to control them before one gives up this material body. One who can do this is understood to be self-realized and is thus happy in the state of self-realization. It is the duty of the transcendentalist to try strenuously to control desire and anger.
It's not that you may or may not control. No, you have to try strenuously. See, he says here. You saw that? What he says? A transcendental must try. So why the word strenuously is using? Why? Huh? Well, it's mandatory. Huh? He doesn't only say try. Somebody may say, Prabhuji, I tried, I couldn't, so I left it. No. You have to try strenuously, he says. Why? Because if you don't try strenuously to control these two urges, desire and anger, you'll have to be born again and again. Huh? More material bodies are awaiting you. And even within this life, one is likely to be caught by the police and arrested if one doesn't restrain these two urges. So we have already spoken about it in many classes before, that if you indulge in the sinful activities, there are many sufferings that await us, correct? No? First you have to spend money for purchasing the sin, then you have to go to doctor and pay the doctor's bill. Then you also, initially for indulging in sin, purchasing only involves money. But secondly, after consuming those sinful activities, we get suffering, which is mentioned in the verses also, isn't it? Well, that means you spend money for getting suffering. Correct, no? Correct? It happens, sir, isn't it? You spend money for getting, you're purchasing, going to a shop and saying, sir, please give me some suffering. I accept it. Correct? No? It's like that. So you spend money, you had to suffer, then you have to go to doctor and pay the bill also again to the doctor. And the second suffering will come in the form of side effects of the medicine. That's another suffering, isn't it? First, suffering before eating medicine and suffering after eating medicine. Before eating medicine comes from, sinful activities. Uh, and after eating medicine comes from side effects. Correct, no? Another suffering. Then after that, the police comes. The police will beat you up or put you behind the bars. That's another type of suffering. That's another type of suffering. So, in this way, one should be intelligent. Okay, that's why I told you there is a prison which is punitive, we call it, which means punishable place. This is a place where Jiva is punished, correct? Now you're handcuffed and beaten up or something like that. Or there's another fellow who may not have to be handcuffed and who may not have to be punished. He is willing to listen to the good words of the sacred scriptures like Bhagavad Gita. He says, okay, I'll try to strenuously to control. Why the word strenuously is used here? Because you are living in a society now which is surrounded by so much evil, so many people indulging in sense gratification. When you see that, immediately one's mind says, hey, if they are enjoying, why can't we also enjoy? They are roaming with girls, why can't we roam? They have a girlfriend, why can't I also have? They are smoking, drinking, and enjoying discotheque dancing, why can't we do? They live a carefree life, why can't we also live a carefree life? People ask the question. Actually, they look like they are carefree, but it's only a matter of time. The punishments are on the way for them. Multiple punishments come, which we can see within our lifespan itself, we can see. Whether it is a poor performance in academics, or it is some diseases, or it is some all these different things I told you. We can see that. But they don't foresee the future now. Correct now? They are thinking about instinctive pleasures. That's why I took you to the 18.38, where Prabhupada says a combination of man and woman is very attractive, but the subsequent results are very painful. There are many problems. One should try to strenuously control. So when you strenuously control, then the gift is coming in the next verse. What is the gift you get? Yontas sukontaramas tatantar jyotirevayah sayogi brahma nirvanam brahma bhuto dhigachati. One whose happiness is within, who is active and rejoices within, and whose aim is inward, is actually the perfect mystic. He is liberated in the Supreme, and ultimately he attains the Supreme. So he's saying one whose happiness is within the heart, who is active and rejoices within. So he is relishing. And whose aim is inward is actually perfect mystic. There are two aims, out and inward. Tate vidu swartagatim hi vishnum durashaya ye bahir arthamaninaha. Considering the external glitter and glamour to be very purposeful. Bahir arthamaninaha. So there are two words used in Shastra, artha and anartha. So out of the two things, who can say? Only for the Nakul group devotees. Is apple and apple balloon. Out of that, which one is artha, which one is anartha?
Balloon is the anartha.
Balloon is anartha. It looks like bigger than the apple also. Correct? Similarly, in this world, the Maya is anartha. And getting Krishna conscious shelter is artha. Correct? No? So, Narada became the guru of Prahlad. Prahlad understood that Bhagavata Dharma is artha. And my father wants to become Trilokadipati. That is anartha. He understood that. He is trying to become Kutke enjoyer. He himself wants to be an enjoyer himself. That will not work. Who was confident? He was super confident. He knew that. My father has a wrong formula. He is resorting to a wrong formula. He immediately could understand. But Narada's formula he liked, Bhagavad Dharma. Krishna is the center of the universe. Yes, that is perfect. Prahlad had a perfect, he understood what is artha. Therefore he says, Nate viduhu swartagatim ke Vishnum. My dear father, foolish people like you do not know that the real purpose of life is to attain the lotus feet of Vishnu. Durashaya. You have taken shelter of a false hope, he is telling. What is the false hope? The false hope that you can be the center forever. That is your false hope. Whose false hope? Hiranyakashipu and all the living entities in this world. Durashaya. Asha means hope. Durashaya means bad hope or a false hope. And where does that false hope come from? Bahir arthamaninaha. Considering the external world to be very purposeful. Correct, no? Like you see sometimes the banks are having all glasses. You've seen that? Or you see this shopping malls, how they look like, and look at the cinema posters, and look at the movies and everything. So many people are leading very external lives. So the external life is all about dhanam janam sundarim, impressing to the opposite sex, accumulating money, and having big number of popular following. So these are the kind of things that the world also considers to be, who is great and who is not, correct, no? So that's what he is saying. My father, you are after these things, but these are like apple balloon. It will be gone. It's only a matter of time. So on the other hand, Prahlad was focusing on happiness that is within. He was active and he was rejoicing within. And he is a perfect mystic. He is liberated in the Supreme and ultimately attains the Supreme Lord. And then that Prabhupada is asking in the purport, unless one is able to relish happiness from within, how can one retire from the external engagements meant for deriving superficial happiness? A liberated person enjoys happiness by factual experience. His enjoyment is not imaginary. The liberated person, how he enjoys, we will come to that point now. He can therefore sit silently in any place and enjoy the activities of life from within. Such a liberated person no longer desires external material happiness. This state is called Brahmabhuta, attaining which one is assured of going back home, back to Godhead. What is that happiness that the spiritualist enjoys within? Let us discuss about that now. That's a very important point.
Shri Radha Stotram. गृहे राधा वने राधा राधा पृष्ठे पुरस्थिता यत्र यत्र स्थिता राधा राधैवाराध्यते मया जिह्वा राधा श्रुतौ राधा राधा नेत्रे हृदि स्थिता सर्वाङ्गव्यापिनी राधा राधैवाराध्यते मया पूजा राधा जपो राधा राधिका चाभिवन्दने स्मृतौ राधा शिरो राधा राधैवाराध्यते मया घाने राधा गुणे राधा राधिका भोजने गतौ रत्रौ राधा दिवा राधा राधैवाराध्यते मया माधुर्ये मधुरा राधा महत्वे राधिका गुरुः सौन्दर्ये सुन्दरी राधा राधैवाराध्यते मया राधा रससुधा सिन्धु राधा सौभाग्यमञ्जरी राधा व्रजाङ्गना मुख्या राधैवाराध्यते मया राधा पद्मानना पद्मा पद्मोद्भव सुपूजिता पद्मे विवेचिता राधा राधैवाराध्यते मया राधा कृष्णात्मिका नित्यं कृष्णो राधात्मको ध्रुवम् वृन्दावनेश्वरी राधा राधैवाराध्यते मया जिह्वाग्रे राधिका नाम नेत्राग्रे राधिका तनुः कर्णे च राधिका कीर्तिर्मानसे राधिका सदा कृष्णेन पठितं स्तोत्रं राधिका प्रीतये परम् यः पठेत् प्रयतो नित्यं राधा कृष्णान्तिको भवेत् आराधितः मना कृष्णो राधाराधितमानसः कृष्णा कृष्णमना राधा राधा कृष्णेति यः पठेत् इति श्रीब्रह्माण्डपुराणे श्रीवेदव्यासकृतं श्रीराधास्तोत्रम् सम्पूर्णम्.
This is spoken by Krishna. He says here, Radha is in the home, Radha is in the forest, she is both behind and before me, he says. I worship the sound is coming here. I worship the all-pervading Radhaji. Where is it coming from?
That is coming from Zoom.
I worship the all-pervading Radhaji wherever she is present. And then he is saying, Radha is on my tongue, Radha is in my ears, Radha is in my eyes and inside my heart. You can see how much Krishna cherishes Radhaji. And then I worship Radhaji who is within the bodies of all. That means she is also in the heart of all the jivas also. Radha is in my puja, Radha is in my mantra japa, Radha is in my prayers, Radha is in my memory, Radha is in my head. I worship that Radhaji says. Whenever I sing about the qualities of Radha. Everything I eat is Radha's prasad, he says. Wherever I go, I always remember Radha. Radha is in the night, in the day. Radha is the sweetness within anything that is sweet, or anything that is important. Radha is the most important. And of everything that is beautiful, Radha is the supreme beauty. I worship that Radhaji, he says. Radha is an ocean of nectarian rasa. Radha is the flower bud of all good fortune. Radha is the foremost gopi of Raj. I worship that Radhaji. Because Radha's face is like a spotless lotus flower. She is known as Padma. She is worshipped by Padmaja, Brahma, who is born in Brahma, born in the lotus, from Vishnu's navel. And she was first discovered by her father when she was resting upon a lotus. When Rishabhanu was plowing the field, he saw. And then actually Sita was found like that. And once Brahma gave this child from a golden lotus to Rishabhanu in a pond in the morning when he went for bathing. I worship that Radhaji. Radha is eternally immersed in Sri Krishna. Krishna is certainly always immersed in Radha. And Radha is the queen of Vrindavan. I worship that Radhaji. Radha's name is in the tip of my tongue. Radha's beautiful form is always before my eyes. Descriptions of Radha's fame are always in my ears. And Radha always resides in my mind. Whoever regularly recites with great care this prayer spoken by Sri Krishna will attain loving service for the feet of Sri Radha Krishna. Srimati Radhika worships Sri Krishna in her heart and mind. And Krishna worships Srimati Radhika in his heart and mind. In her heart and mind. And Sri Krishna attracts Radhika's heart and mind. And Radhika attracts Krishna's heart and mind. Whoever lovingly recites this prayer will become similarly attracted to the lotus feet of Radha, Sri Radha and Krishna. So this gives us a clue about how Radha and Krishna Tattva, these two great personalities, are a great riddle to a common man. Prabhupada writes in one of his purports, he says, Radha and Krishna are a great riddle to the common people, because many boys and girls come to Radha Krishna temples thinking that they will bless our love affairs. But then Radha Krishna, they are themselves attracted to each other, seeing that they are bewildered. What is this? Actually, God's activities and the Jiva's activities cannot be equated. Because here you can see the word Radha comes from Aradhana. Aradhana means worship. From that, the word Radha comes. So, in Radharani's personality, there is a constant 24/7 thought of rendering service to Krishna. Just like, we will show that. You will see the, I don't know, not play. Only selected one only I'm showing here. So here he says here. रासलास्य गीत नर्म सत्कलालि पंडिता प्रेम रम्य रूप वेश सद्गुणालि मंडिता विश्वनव्य गोपयोषिदालितोऽपि याधिका मह्यमात्म पाद पद्मदास्य दास्तु राधिका. Saying, Radharani, read that? She's very.
She is very learned in many transcendental arts, such as performing the rasa dance, singing, and joking. She is decorated with many divine qualities, such as loving nature, exquisite beauty, and wonderful garments and ornaments. Even among the cowherd damsels of Braja, who are praised by entire universe, she is the best in every way. May Sri Radhika bestow upon me the service of her own lotus feet.
Yeah. So, in this way, she serves Krishna in varieties of ways, by racha dance, by singing, by joking, by cooking, by so many different type of services. So she does, and not only she does service, she also engages everybody in unlimited number of services. So the service that each jiva renders is like one droplet, and the service that Srimati Radharani renders is like ocean. So then all the jivas are subordinate to her. She is also called Prakriti, we are also called Prakriti, but she is like the mother Prakriti, correct? No? We are like children Prakriti. We are very tiny Prakriti. She is like mother of the universe. That is said in many of the Sri Vaishnava prayers also. Vande Jagan Mataram, it is said. So, that Jagan Mata is the real mother. These people have made Vande Mataram of the state or the country. See, this country is divided by the human beings, correct? No? Now you cut Pakistan and say they will say Vande Mataram for Pakistan. You say for your own country. And then there is Burma, Bangladesh, another piece. Earlier they were all one piece, correct? No? Like that. Whereas the real mother is who? There is one material energy, which is Durga. Then there is a spiritual mother, which is Radharani. Correct? No? So Radharani, Sita, Lakshmi, they all come in internal potency. And Durga, Chandi, Chamandi, Bhadrakali, these come in external energy. So the conditioned souls are currently kept under the custody of external potency. And that's why they are struggling with their mind and senses, struggling to enjoy. With the difference between being under external potency and being under internal potency is, when you are under external potency, not caring for God, we try to enjoy our senses on our own without rendering service. And in the custody of internal potency, everybody knows that, the senses which I possess, they are not my senses, they are given by Krishna. Like, for example, I can lift my hand, put my hand down because I am given permission by Krishna, correct? No? So Krishna wouldn't give me permission. Without his sanction, can I move? There are many people for whom half the body doesn't work. You know that? What do you call it? Paralysis, correct? No? One side doesn't work. Only one side works because the connection with the brain is lost. So the Lord can give permission, otherwise he cannot give permission. Like this, January 2nd, I was supposed to go to US. 5 days ago, Before that, suddenly I got excruciating pain in the spine in such a way morning when I got up. When I get up, when I sit only, it pains. When you lie down, it doesn't pain. When you keep the spine like this, it doesn't pain. When you sit like this, severe pain, as if, the spine has broken only. It looked like that. Yeah, it was very, very painful. I was wondering what to do. How will I even go to hospital? I was thinking. And slowly, slowly catching the whole weight of the trunk. I brought it in my hands and put it in my like this. I was walking like an old man, as if I'm 80 or 90-year-old. I was walking like this. Then after that, they took me to hospital and then they checked. They said, you have some problem in the L4, L5. It has become contracted. You see, between one bone and the next bone, there is one kind of, what do you call that? Disc kind of thing. This disc is like a glossy type of disc. Jelly disc it is. That type of disc. So when that disc goes up, then when two bones touch, it causes pain. Yeah. So these people said, we can, increase the distance and we can put some screw and then we'll make some operation. But it will cost you some 3 lakh rupees. We will set it right. There were 2, 3, spinologists and all telling me like that. I'm wondering, my Lord, if you put screw, how will I walk? You have to walk like a robo. I was wondering what to do. Later on, I went to, of course, our Ayurvedic people, they told me that between one bone and another bone, the one which is there, what do you call that? Huh? That jelly disc is there. That jelly disc is not, it's like looking like watery it is, but they said it is like a tube of a tire. In a tire inside we have a tube, no? It's like that. Currently it's like this. But when you pump it, what will happen? Tire was, it's like that. But what these people do, many people, when it gets pressed like this, they cut it because it is causing pain. They cut it and they slide to artificially make it like that and put some screw and all. They said it's not required. You just have to do what you have to do. You have to make it like this. And by pumping, like when you pump air in a tube, it becomes big. Then I asked, how do you do that? You have to stretch your spine for that. So they, of course, it's a very big story. Cut short if you want to know what is the secret. When you don't exercise your body, when you sit for a long time, it forms spasms in your back. And the spasm become like pockets, like traffic jam in a road. When little traffic jam comes, then more and more traffic jam. Then multiple streets also get blocked, correct? No? Similarly, here spasm comes, then here, then it goes to hips, then it goes to leg. Our whole body becomes like frozen, like that, especially in cold winter. Then how do you remove the spasm? My God, it's a very painful process. They put stimulators to activate blood in that region and they smash it and they bring it down, remove it from the feet. It took almost a week. They did that. Now they almost made it no spasm now. But every day you have to do yoga. You keep the body. When you get older, the cells, dead cells are more. Correct? So if you don't want the more cells to die, you have to do yoga. So that doctor is such an intelligent devotee doctor. He was telling me, see, this material world is called dukkha. That means either you give dukkha to body by exercise, or you get spasm and doctor will give you dukkha. You have 2 type of dukkha. One is the yoga dukkha. How many of you find it laborious to do yoga? You find it lazy? Yeah. But if you don't give suffering through yoga to the body, some amount of suffering is there, correct? In yoga, when you have to exercise your body, laziness is also there in the mind. Yeah. Different poses are a little difficult. That pain is required for the body. It's a healthy pain. You want a healthy pain, or later on they give you unhealthy pain. He was saying. And they asked, why is it so? I asked him, because you are in material world. He said, Dukkalayam. He is also giving philosophy in between the treatment also. That's a wonder with doctor, the devotee doctor. Devotee doctors will give treatment along with that. Philosophy also along with that. He said, प्रभु जी आप तो बैठ कर प्रवचन देते जाते हो, तो शरीर को तंदुरुस्त रखना चाहते हो, लेकिन दुख दिए बिना शरीर तंदुरुस्त नहीं रहता. You cannot keep the body healthy without giving that yoga pain to the body. Some amount of stretch. If you don't give, then doctors will give you pain. You're saying. So now I don't feel any pain. I can sit even in a day. I sit 8 hours and I speak lecture now. But you have to make sure that you do those spine exercises. They have taught me. You start some yoga. Practically every joint of the body you have to exercise every day. Then only it will be like well-oiled machine. But the point why I was telling you this, there is a healthy, situation. There is an unhealthy situation. So being in external energy is unhealthy. Being under internal potency shelter is very healthy. So in an unhealthy situation, what happens? That is explained here. I'll show you. Mhm. See, in unhealthy situation, the senses drag us on the wrong path in our conditioned stage. Read that quickly. One of you.
Senses drag us on the wrong path in our conditioned stage. All that glitters is not gold. Maya's allurement is for fools. Have you seen dolls of man or woman made up of plaster of Paris kept in cloth shops? Similarly, this body is combination of blood and muscles and veins. If the upper skin is removed, the body is full of obnoxious, horrible things. But outwardly, under the illusion of Maya, it looks very attractive. It is attracting our senses. We are being bound by the false illusory beauty of this world. We are running after the mirage and find no peace, no happiness. Therefore, we have to divert our attention back to Godhead. One who is not Krishna conscious is subjected to material desires while contemplating the objects of the senses. The senses require real engagements, and if they are not engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, they will certainly seek engagement in the service of materialism.
See, women cannot be blamed. Sometimes, when people read the Shastra, they think, oh, these women are Maya. Huh? Actually, women can be seen in two ways by our eyes. Huh? One is to see her as a daughter or as a mother. Huh? Similarly, women see the men as either a son or a father. Correct? Huh? That's a correct vision. Except one's own husband or one's own wife. That is the way one is supposed to see the world around. Correct? No? And then see that they are all part and parcels of the Lord. They have come here. They have to go back to the Lord. The material world is not a permanent place. Huh? Even though sometimes we may feel some allurement in the mind, some agitation due to somebody's external beauty, one preaches to one's mind, this beauty is a temporary beauty. It's not going to last forever. It's there today. It'll be gone tomorrow. Huh? You preach. And also the attraction I am feeling. Immediately we should remember that shloka. Shaknoti heva yasodum Vakshariri mokshana. Till I give up my body, Krishna says that I should tolerate this urge which is coming, which is a wrong urge. Huh? So when you keep on tolerating the wrong urge over a period of time, that kind of tolerating the urge gradually become a second nature for you. You know that which urge can be vented out and which urge has to be tolerated, correct? No? That's what he's saying here. There is allurement in this world, but one has to uh, this mirage, one should know that it's a mirage. It's just a cheating phenomenon. And then, especially if you are a spiritualist, if you don't learn this important aspect, even spiritualists also get into wrong track sometimes because of not learning this important thing. So here Prabhupada says here, you see, very important point he says here. You see what is, read that one again.
One who is not Krishna conscious is subjected to material desires while contemplating the objects of the senses.
That is the point. Why we feel material desires when we look at the opposite sex? Because we are not. Radharani is always Krishna conscious, 100% Krishna conscious. Now, if we are also in Radharani's shelter, then she will engage us in Krishna's service in varieties of ways. Then we also become Krishna conscious, following in her footsteps. Then actually we don't, we are not subjected to material desires. We are only subjected to spiritual desires. In Antaranga Shakti, you only have spiritual desires. So what is the difference between spiritual desire and material desire? In spiritual desire, Krishna is the center. How we can dress Krishna, how we can decorate Krishna, how we can sing for Krishna, dance for Krishna, cook for Krishna, distribute books for Krishna, do Harinam Sankirtan of Krishna's names. Everything in this world is created to please Krishna, just like the flowers. Our plants are all thinking, oh, if somebody can pick up my flowers and offer to Krishna, how nice it will be. Fruit-bearing trees are thinking, if somebody can take my fruit and give it to Krishna's temple, Krishna's service, how nice it will be. Similarly, the cuckoos are singing. We may not know. Ultimately, all the jivas have some ability, and their ability is actually meant for glorifying Krishna or serving Krishna. So that kind of correct vision, if we have, then who becomes the center? Krishna becomes center. Then that's called spiritual desire. And material desire means who becomes center? We ourselves. We think I am a hero and I want to do romance, and with whom? With everybody. Any woman on the road, I want to do romance. And the mind can be such a rascal. Some people don't care whether one is a married woman or unmarried woman or whose wife, or they just want to enjoy with anybody. And that is why they become. I told the example of a pig. The purpose is a pig eats stool, and because his quality of food is so nasty for food he eats, when he becomes plumpy, he enjoys sex even with sister and daughter and mother also. Doesn't see any discrimination. Such a dirty animal it is. No, not even worthy talking about. Such a pathetic animal. Now a human being can become like the pig also. And pig consciousness one can have when one's eating habits are impure, one's sex habits are impure, and leave alone the other habits which are subordinate to this, isn't it? So that's why we feel material desires while contemplating on sense objects when we are not Krishna conscious. When we become bewildered and confused and forget that Krishna is the center, we think I am the center, then we feel material desires. Indra got into the same problem. Indra thought I am the center, so he wanted to. So out of this desire and anger, which one he let loose? Anger. Correct now, the Vijayabha says. He didn't control his anger and he got into trouble. He became offensive. Correct now? Yeah. So either desire or anger takes over us. Okay? And then read that.
Senses carry away even mind. The senses are so strong and
Impetuous.
impetuous. O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind, even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them.
Yatadohyapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha indriyani pramatini haranti prasavam manah is saying that even though a man may be considered vipaschit, he may be jnani person, he has studied Shastra, he knows Maya cannot make me happy. Till now we have been discussing all these things. Why did I show that Radha Sutram to you? We know that ultimately, Radharani and all the jivas in the spiritual world are engaged in Krishna service. That is more complete. Without that understanding, like a jnani, artificially you try to withdraw your senses. And you can't keep the senses unengaged or underengaged for a long time. Unengaged senses are going to be wild. Hey, engage me in something. Either engage me in Krishna service or engage me in Maya service. Don't keep me idle. They are going to ask you like that. Correct, no? Senses cannot. And if you are telling senses, no, it's like saying that, I won't give you any food. They are not going to keep quiet. They have to eat some food. Correct, no? So then they are going to pounce on the sense objects. Go ahead.
The nature of the mind is flickering and unsteady, but a self realized yogi has to control the mind. The mind should not control him. At the present moment, the mind is controlling us, Godas. The mind is telling us, why not drink the nice liquor? And we say, yes. It says, why not smoke the cigarette? Yes. We say, why not why not go to this restaurant for such palatable food? Why not do this? Why not do that? In this way, the mind is dictating and we are following. But material life means being controlled by the senses or the mind, which is the center of all the senses. Being controlled by the mind means being controlled by the senses because the senses are the mind's assistants. The mastermind dictates, go see that, and the eyes following the directions of the mind look at the sense object. The mind tells us to go to a certain place, and the legs under the mind's directions carry us there. Thus, being under the direction of the mind means coming under the control of the senses. If we can control the mind, we will not be under the control of the senses. One who is under the control of the senses is known as Godas. The word go means senses and das means servant. One who is master of the senses is called Goswami because Swami means master. Therefore, one who has the title Goswami is one who has mastered the senses.
So here very nicely Prabhupada explains here. Like, the senses are dictating. We should be able to visibly see this, that we are being dragged by our senses. Sometimes we tend to overeat some sweet or some item. Like someday they are serving sweet rice. You are asking, one more glass, Prabhuji, one more glass, three glasses. We take, because the tongue is demanding, hey, get me one more glass. And many times your intelligence knows that it is not good for me. If I drink so much today, one time in our travels, some congregation devotee brought amras in a very big vessel, and there were like 20, 30 devotees in the train. So the train stopped at the station and then they brought, and when they gave one glass, devotees liked it so much, then they asked for a second help. Second, some people drank third one and fourth one. 5 glasses. Very nice. I think they had added little milk also, I think, in that. They had milk also? Amras they added? Like shake kind of thing, milkshake kind of, mango shake, yeah, mango shake they had made. Some more items they had put, very tasty it was. Elachi also, yeah, elachi, everything. Kada 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 kada, they were drinking. And the grasa who was serving, he was little worried. Then he was asking the manager, Prabhu, this devotee has finished 7 glasses, all right? And gave 6 glass, 7 glasses. And he said, okay, Prabhu, please take care, don't drink too much. He was asking one more. Manager also asking after saying, मुझे भी एक और एक दे देना. It was so tasty. But next day morning, everybody was catching their belly. When they went to bathroom, because it was burning in their back. One fellow said, Prabhu, next day morning there's such a dysentery, I thought my intestine have come out. It was very painful, correct? So that's the nature of material enjoyment. When it is going in the top, when going through the mouth, it's enjoyable. When it is coming out, very painful. Correct? No? That's what he is saying. That means we become Godas, servant of the senses. Correct? Now the tongue. Similarly, eyes are going in different directions. We know that one should not see some adult content and dirty things and all. But then once one has watched it a little bit, and then one thinks, okay, again, once I'll watch it. I will not watch more than once. Once again you go, then once again you go. Some people save such adult content in the computer and keep it. Repeatedly they pollute themselves, opening that repeatedly. So in this way, that means eyes have taken over us. Eyes are demanding and we are following. Just like, for example, in Uber, Ola, when you are sitting behind, you are supposed to order the driver, correct? No? You tell the driver, take me to such and such destination. You tell him, please take me to ISKCON temple. And he takes you to liquor shop. That means who is controlling whom? Driver is controlling you. Similarly, my senses have started controlling me. I know that I want to do something, but they want to do something else. That means who is controlled by whom? You can understand. How many of you experienced you intended to do something, but the senses dragged you to do something else? How many of you experienced? Correct? No, that's what he is speaking here. That's called Godas. So, Goswami means what? A yogi is one who is able to control his senses at will. Prabhupada is writing. That's the definition of a yogi. I order the senses, hey, that's not good for you. Then they also won't do. This is right, do this. Then they will do it. So, I heard that 80% of the youths who make resolutions in New Year, within a couple of weeks, they are unable to follow it. Yeah. This is a research they have done in the West. I recently found out. So that's because Godas, that's the point. Goswami means he makes a plan and sticks to the plan, Prabhupada says. So above the senses, who is there? Mind. So mind is like the master of the senses. So the senses demand the mind, and the mind is telling the intelligence, hey boss, intelligence, make a nice intelligent plan for me and give, so that the senses can enjoy. So Prabhupada says senses are like children. Mind is like mother and intelligence like father. Sometimes the children are saying, Papa, Papa, cocoa chocolate, ah! They're crying, And the mother is telling the husband, see the kids, they are making noise. My head is aching. Give them the money, give 500 rupee note. Take it and push up. He tells the children, better go and buy chocolate, go to hell, no problem. Don't disturb me. So that means children are pulling the mother is pulling father. That's how the senses drag the mind drags. And then in this way, one gets degraded. This is the mechanism of falling down. Correct? No? On the contrary, if father is connected to Guru, correct? No? Guru and the Shastras and Krishna, Guru, Sadhu, Shastra and Krishna, then the transcendental knowledge which is stored in the intelligence, with that he becomes a respectable personality. Then the wife respects the husband. And then the wife tells the children, see, my dear children, if you do this, Papa will not be happy and it's not good for your health. She's able to preach to them. Then children also become, Prabhupada says, grateful children, chaste wife, and responsible husband. Three things Prabhupada says. Husband should be responsible, wife should be chaste, children should be grateful for what they are given. So then such a person's senses are controlled. He can eat moderately and he can control his sex urge. And then he can go on. Actually, Shastras allow married life, but not outside the Lakshman Rekha, which is called illicit sex, we call it, isn't it? So one should not go beyond the maryada that is set for us. Therefore, we need to control the senses. So, and Prabhupada says, what is the result of uncontrolled senses? Read that.
Result of uncontrolled senses.
Somebody may say, read that. Somebody may ask.
Why bother so much about sense control? Why not just enjoy and let them loose in any direction they want to go?
This is what many of your friends will say. Hey, come on, yaar, why do you bother about controlling and all these things? Just enjoy. Okay, they are demanding, just give it. Like mother says, "Bachche chilla rahe hain na, de do paisa usko." Then the problem is when the children eat, imagine 4 packets or 6 packets of gems. If they eat, tomorrow all the teeth will be gone. And then father will have to spend a lot of money later on. Correct, no? Yeah.
Then, as itching sensation keeps growing by scratching, or as the fire grows by pouring ghee in fire, similarly, the uncontrolled senses will drive one to the point of unbearable pain and insanity. This is only the first installment. The later installments will be given in the subsequent mortal bodies that follow due to the sinful acts performed due to uncontrolled senses. That is why, just as the doctor treats a disease by various methods, the yogi controls the unruly senses by certain practices, including for fasting, chanting, meditation, exercise, worship, and knowledge that I am not this body, I am the pure spirit soul, servant of God.
Ah. See, there is one plant called as poison ivy in the West. That plant, by mistake, if you touched and you touched somewhere, it start itching like anything. Then you touch here and then touch here. Here also it starts itching. Wherever you touch, that starts scratch. And then you scratch your body, head, everywhere, all over the body. Reddish rashes come all over the body. And you don't know how to get rid of it. It will continuously be, giving you the itching. How many of you had a strong itching sensation and you just couldn't tolerate? You scratched it and it became reddish. Your experience, correct, no? Correct, no? So the more you scratch, the more it becomes reddish. Over a period of time, it even starts bleeding also. Huh? So what to do with this poison ivy plant? If somebody touched it, doctors say two things only you have to do. They say, stop scratching, even though the urge is there, and apply balm, apply the medicine. So chanting Hare Krishna is like applying the medicine, applying a balm. And tolerating the urge is like the following four irreducibles. Follow the four regs, then you're tolerating the urge. And there are many boys who are breaking the four regs. That is like scratching. Very soon they're going to bleed now. Correct? No? The more you scratch, the more you bleed like that. And similarly, when you apply the balm, initially the balm is burning, but then eventually it becomes soothing. Like, one round also may be difficult for a new boy. But you watch on 16 rounds now, correct? No? Then it becomes like a healing balm over a period of time. That's what he's saying here. Therefore, you may say, oh, why not let loose? Oh, really? If you let loose, you are not going to be peaceful. The whole world is taking so many type of antidepressants, tranquilizers, painkillers, and they are taking so many things to forget the problems of life, correct? No? Because they are facing a lot of challenges. Read this.
Uncontrolled mind and senses. What it can do to you. The position of a person whose mind and senses are uncontrolled becomes pitiable. There are six vegams or urges. Vacho vegam is the urge to talk unnecessarily. That is a kind of pushing of the tongue. Then there is krodha vegam, the urge to become angry. When we are pushed to anger, we cannot check ourselves, and sometimes men become so angry that they commit murder. Similarly, the mind is pushing, dictating, you must go there at once, and we immediately go where we are told. The word jibha vegam refers to the tongue's being urged to taste palatable foods. Udara vegam refers to the urges of the belly. Although the belly is full, it still wants more food. And that is a kind of pushing of the belly. And when we yield to the pushings of the tongue and the belly, the urges of the genitals become very strong and sex is required.
Yeah. Say, sometimes, for example, you are eating prasad and the stomach is full, but the tongue wants little bit more for taste. Sometimes you find some item little tasty, correct? No? Additionally tasty. You want to take little more, little more. And the stomach is saying, enough, enough. Tongue says, little more, little more. The tongue is saying, isn't it? Sometimes the tongue doesn't find a food tasty, but the stomach wants to pack up, correct? No? More and more. And the tongue is saying, hey, not at all tasty. But stomach says, no, keep giving more. Stomach wants more. Because sometimes somebody asked Shamanandu, Prabhu, we people never ate like this before in our life. Why do we eat so much now? So much sabji, so much khichdi. Sometimes four plates of khichdi you take. How? So he was telling when you control the other senses, then all the urge of the other senses come in the tongue, tongue and the belly. So therefore, Udaravegam refers to the belly. So in this way, even though belly is full, we keep eating more because of the tongue's demand. And when tongue and belly are uncontrollably fed, then what happens? It applies pressure on the pelvis, then causing the uh, jananendriya or the genitals to clamor for sex life. That's what he is saying. Read further. If one does not control his mind or his tongue, then how can he control his genitals? In this way, there are many pushings.
In this
So much so that the body is a kind of pushing machine. Prabhupada is saying, body is a kind of pushing machine. Keeps on pushing. Eyes are pushing, ears are pushing, nose is pushing, tongue is pushing, genitals are pushing. And this is a reality. Read that, all this.
All these senses wander astray in all directions due to an uncontrolled mind. A foolish man who knows no solution when faced with dangers in life may fall prey to bad vices like smoking, drinking, or suicide. To free himself from suffering, but he is inviting more suffering than ever before. In
You ask
modern
any boy why he went for smoking, they thought that smoking will relieve him of the tension. You heard that? Right now? Because it gives you, it stretches the nerves and gives you a feeling of some kind of confidence. It gives you. So that's what, because mind becomes relieved of the immediate anxiety, but then it comes to depressing, it comes to the negative axis. Then again, you have to take one more. And that's why they become chain smokers or alcoholics. Yeah.
In modern times, we can practically see people getting stressed, lack of confidence, lack of determination, and so on, due to an uncontrolled mind. There is no peace and happiness in accumulation of wealth or possessing bodily beauty or in displaying of strength. In display of strength, the real secret of happiness is a controlled mind, which is gradually achieved through a God-conscious way of life.
So here is the secret of happiness. When you control the mind, control the senses, and then engage the senses and mind and intelligence in Krishna service, then the real happiness starts, which we said, Yontas Sukontara Ramas, isn't it? Read this one.
Our senses don't belong to us, they belong to Krishna. We are very proud of our senses. The senses are given by the Lord just as a father gives his son some toys. Similarly, we want to enjoy this material world. Therefore, our material senses are given to us with the advice, all right, enjoy it then. You experience this material world, and when you do not experience enjoyment, then you shall come back again to me. So the senses are actually meant for rendering service to the Lord. The senses belong to the Supreme Lord. Just as these are my spectacles and should be used for my purpose, just like this room, this loft where we are sitting, the loft belongs to our landlady. We should always be conscious of that. There is no harm in using it as long as we remember it is not ours. But if I think this is my loft, I don't have to pay the rent, I am the owner, the trouble begins. We have rented this loft, that is fine, but I do not own it.
Nice example, Prabhupada. You see, if you're staying in a house, you keep paying rent every month within the first 7 days. The owner is happy, your happy life goes on. The moment you say, okay, now let us not give rent, let us see what he does. What he will do, he will throw you out. Like that it is, correct? Now? Similarly, another example is giving, like the spectacles are supposed to be used for my purpose. If I have a pen in my pocket for my purpose, nobody can put his hand in my pocket and take out my pen because it belongs to me. He says. Similarly, all the senses are gifted by Krishna to us. Okay, they are Krishna's property. And therefore, if you don't engage senses in Krishna's service, just like company gives you a car, not that you enjoy the car for your own thing. The company car is supposed to be used for what purpose? Company's purpose. Like when I was working as a scientist in CCRI, I was in senior research fellow. So I was in one of the departments. We are on R&D, correct now? So one day they came and kept, this much thick packet of white papers, like that 4 or 5 packets he kept. One peon came and kept and went. So because we use a lot of papers for printing, correct now? When we do the computer work, we can print and we have to show it to our superior and everything like that. So one fellow thought, oh, so many bulk papers they are giving. I can carry it for my children. So he put 2 of his packets in his bag. And then he went. He was about to return home at the gate. The watchman had a suspicion. He checked it. And then immediately he called the department. Sir, he's taking 2 packets. Have you given? They asked. They said, no, that's not for taking home. It's a stationery for the office purposes. Turn him back. Then he was again sent back. He had to go back and put it back in the office. So the man was later on telling, so I thought, see, they are giving for our department. Why can't we take it? Yes, you see the department, they will give you computer, they will give you everything. Correct, no? See, for example, company gave you computer, company gave you mobile, a company gave you a printer. At the time of leaving the company, what you have to do? You have to return it back because it's only meant for whose purpose? Company's purpose. Company gave you a car. You can't say, very good car, I'm joining another company now. They have to give the car back. Correct? Because it's owned by the company. Similarly, it says, Krishna gave you your senses. Did you create your eyes, ears, nose, hands, legs? God has given. We see that these senses give pleasure. Like you take a gulab jamun, put in the tongue. It's giving taste. This ability of the tongue to give taste, did you create it? No. We are just finding it. We are assuming that this is my body and I am my body, we are thinking. We are not our body. Body is superficial to the soul. Body is like a toy given to the jiva. So you can do two things with this toy. One is engage this body in Krishna's service. Then gradually the body becomes so purified. The quality of the bodily activities and quality of soul activities become one. You understand it? That means whatever you will do in spiritual world as a soul, same thing you do with your material body. Then you don't need any more material body. Material body is given to us for one reason. Why? Because we wanted to enjoy separately. But when you refuse to enjoy separately, when you use 100% of your body, ihayasya harerdasya karmana manasa gira nikilashvapyavastasu jivan muktasya uchyate. A person who is engaging his body, mind, words in Lord service, such a person is called jivan mukta. Then you don't need material body anymore. Lord will say that, hey, this jiva has become pure. He's not misusing his body. Call him back to Godhead. Radharani will request the Lord, take this fellow back. He's using everything in Lord's service. That's the standard we want to achieve. Otherwise, as long as we keep on trying to cheat the Lord, we can't cheat the Lord. We are cheating ourselves only. But we think we can cheat and enjoy ourselves. Yes, you need more and more material bodies. All right, you enjoy them and the Lord gives us. And we're going to come to the conclusion. Read this.
No peace of mind without sense control. Everyone in this material world is looking for peace, but they don't want to control the senses. For example, if you're deceased and the doctor says, take this medicine or follow this diet, but you refuse, you take whatever you want against the instruction of the physician, so how can you be cured? Similarly, we want to be cured of the chaotic condition of this material world. We want peace and prosperity, but we are not willing to control the senses.
Many fellows with diabetes, for some time they follow. After that, they're not able to follow. Most of them die prematurely because they don't follow the physician's prescription. Correct, no? You will see that. Doctor says you don't eat this, don't eat that. They don't follow it. But our prescription is very simple. Medicine is holy name. And the strict diet which is given is like the 4 eggs. Don't eat this, whatever it is, like that. So the solution is not suppression. You need higher taste, he says. Read this quickly.
Practical solutions to sense control. Have you seen the 3 monkeys, one with eyes closed, one with ears closed, and the third with mouth closed, indicating that we should avoid seeing, hearing, and speaking unwanted things that bring about degradation in our lives? But this is not enough. Artificial separation will not help. Higher taste is required. The process of restriction from sense enjoyment by rules and regulations is something like restricting a deceased person from certain type of eatables. The patient, however, neither likes such restrictions nor loses his taste for eatables. A doctor once told a landlord, Zamindar, to refrain from eating alfalfa mangoes owing to his having diabetes. Zamindar was fond of mangoes and used to eat a lot before. Once, when he was sitting at home, he found servants bringing sacks of alfalfa mangoes and loading them in the warehouse. The zamindar could not restrain himself. In the night, he opened the warehouse, which was filled with fragrance of mangoes. He thought, "Oh, what cruelty! I'm not allowed to eat because I have diabetes. Let me better eat and die." This is the condition of people when they are tempted by sense objects of this world. People succumb to temptations and invite enormous future suffering. Thus, silent meditation or suppressing senses is recommended for less intelligent persons like Dhyanis or yogis who have no better knowledge. But one who has tasted the beauty of Supreme Lord Krishna in the course of his advancement in Krishna consciousness no longer has a taste for dead material things.
Mm-hmm. And then there's a famous verse. Krishna says in the Bhagavata 2.61, Tani sarvani samyamya Yukta asita matparaha Vashehi yasyendriyani Tasya prajna pratishtita. Yes, you have to withdraw the senses from sense gratification, but you have to engage the senses in Krishna service. That's what Krishna is saying here. So that's called sublimation. See, suppression means only withdrawing senses. Expression means indulging the senses. So the karmis are, what are they doing? Materialistic people?
Suppression.
No, they are not suppression. They never suppress. They indulge. Materialistic people, they indulge. And jnanis and yogis, they suppress. So jnanis and yogis are more intelligent than the foolish karmis. Karmis, they do expressing their senses, they suffer like they go to hell. And those who suppress the senses, they are frustrated and they become morose. But devotee doesn't do either of this. He does sublimation. And how does Ambarish Maharaj? You all know the famous verse. How he sublimated? Savai Manakrishna. You know the famous verse, right? He engaged all his senses in Krishna service. That's the way. Rishikena, Rishikesha Sevanam. See, Ambarish engaged all his senses. He saw the deity form of Krishna with the eyes, with the hands. He cleansed the temple, ate prasad with the mouth. Like that, every sense he used. So one may externally control the senses by some artificial process, but unless the senses are engaged in transcendental service of the Lord, there is every chance of a fall. The Krishna conscious person is concerned only with satisfaction of Krishna and nothing else. And then when Hanuman went to Lanka, he had to go to inner chambers of Ravana and he saw many beautiful women sleeping. Even though he looked at those beautiful women, they were not dressed properly also, because in the night they were sleeping, their dress had moved aside. Even though he saw the beautiful bodies of the women, he never was agitated even a bit also. Why? Because he was fixed in the mission of Rama. And therefore, we also, a devotee can live and move even in a materialistic city full of Maya and still not get tainted by impurity if his heart is focused in entering loving devotion service to Lord Krishna. Correct now? This is the secret. So wind up the senses before Maya and exhibit the senses before Krishna. Like that. That's the tortoise example. Krishna gives that. Like a tortoise, he winds up his senses before Maya. That means you withdraw the senses, but then don't make the senses dull and unengaged or unengaged. Engage them in Krishna service. That's the point here. And desireless means to convert material desires into spiritual desires. That's it. That's the conclusion. Convert the material desires into spiritual desires, withdraw the senses from Maya, and exhibit the senses before Krishna. So that's another. These are all practical solutions. In the end, this is the point. Tani sarvani samyamya yukta asita matparaya vashaishi yasyendriyani tasya prajna pratishtita. That's control the senses and engage them in Krishna service. And the another verse is what is it? Indriyani indriyartebhyas tasya prajna kurmangani vasarvashaka yada samharate chayam kurmangani vasarvashaka indriyani indriyartebhyas tasya prajna pratishtita. That is only talking about withdrawing the senses and exhibiting senses before Krishna. That's another example. So tortoise is one example for that verse. In this way, don't suppress, don't express, but sublimate by engaging. And another thing is for the mind, what to do? Convert the material desires into spiritual desires. For the senses, already told you. For the mind, we never mind there are many desires. You can find out how can I dovetail this desire in Krishna service. Like somebody says, Prabhu, I have a desire to, play some instruments. Okay, learn instruments and then engage it in Krishna service. Yeah. And then comes the three gunas after that. So, talking about mind management. So, today we talked more about senses. Another time we can talk about the mind. So, we were talking about Srimati Radharani because Radharani is a personified service. Nobody can serve like her. So, the more we develop our respect for Radharani's devotion and love and everything, then our senses can be very easily engaged in Krishna service. Very easy. So, read the summary what I read here.
Why do we suffer when we try to enjoy? We chase after pain producing objects which are pregnant with suffering owing to our enjoyment mentality.
Actually, they are not meant for giving you suffering, but only when you look at them with enjoyment, then they give you suffering. Otherwise, not. Yeah.
Material enjoyment is another name for misery. Restrain your senses from chase after sense objects or allow police to put handcuff to stop you from chase after sense objects. Attracted to sense objects but restrained by Guru's order. Attracted to sense objects, restrained by one's effort. Not attracted to sense objects by spiritual vision. Example, a bundi laddu is attractive from distance. When you come near and see ants crawling over it, you have no more attraction to it. Not attracted to sense objects by higher taste.
Yeah, that is example is.
Example, Ambarish Maharaj.
Yeah. So the last one is solution. So one solution he gave was, he says, don't suppress. Don't suppress. Example is three monkeys. Correct. Huh? Sabari also, yeah. Correct. Ravana, Hiranyakashipu became angry and Ravana became lusty. Huh? So two examples. Correct. No? So here, the Tata is just two things, correct? No? Tata is withdraws the limbs. It's not the Tata is withdraws and just goes to sleep. He never goes forward. When there is no danger, he also exhibits the senses and goes forward. Like that, one should keep progressing also. Mhm. These are the solutions. And by adopting these solutions, practical solution, we will be able to, make the progress in managing our senses. You see? So why do we suffer when we try to enjoy? We are trying to enjoy separate from Krishna. That's the answer, isn't it? Actually, it's not that devotees don't enjoy. Devotees get enjoyment, but by taking shelter of Antaranga Shakti. Being in the shelter of Srimati Radharani is also very great joy. Basically, taking shelter of Antaranga Shakti means all ISKCON activities. If you are doing, let's just save this. And if you are doing services as Prabhupada has given in ISKCON, so then our enjoyment is like the Ramante Yoginaran, Prabhupada says. Enjoyment is everlasting, even after death also, but even while living, we can be so happy, provided we align with Krishna's plan for us. Shiva Parki. One question, anybody has any question?
Prabhuji,
Short question, short answer will give. Yeah. Yes.
As in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that in that Vishya Vinivartante sloka, first we should restrain our senses. While doing the practice of restraining the senses, because our past impressions which we have taken before coming to Krishna consciousness, our mind takes input from these impressions and starts wildly imagining. Then it becomes like a two-way battle. One side is like restricting the senses, other is trying to calm down the mind.
See, mind has a nature to magnify and expand and tell you that there is much, much more happiness than what is actually there. Like I told you, laddu, bundi laddu. Very attractive from a distance. When you come near, you see it's covered with ants. Similarly, that is the reason you have to feed your intelligence. When you feed your intelligence with this type of subject matter, then the intelligence is more stronger. Intelligence reasoning is more stronger than the mind's imagination. Correct. Mind may say so many imaginations. You say, okay, sir. The mind may say, oh, this bundi is sweet. Everybody is eating it. Whole world is eating it. Looks also golden color. And oh, okay, sir. Okay, sir. I know very well that ants get lost. Huh? You will say, because correct, no? When you're yourself seeing with your eyes that there are ants. Similarly, yeah, intelligent person's head says that, hey, this you are chasing after the womanly pleasure, whether it's man or a woman, both the bodies are made up of three substances only, bile, mucus, and air. So this is only reasoning. When the reasoning can go to some degree, but beyond that, mind kicks the intelligence also. Therefore, one requires a spiritual higher taste, which comes by Rishikesh Sevana. So senses are engaged in Krishna service. Mind is purified by chanting holy name. Intelligence is strengthened by study of the Shastra. And ego is purified by living with devotees and becoming humble. Correct, no? So we are working on multiple levels. Prabhupada says that, multiple attack we have to do in this world. Only then, especially in Kali Yuga, to survive. So we are working at all levels, not only at this. Nowadays, if you see people, they go in Instagram also. They go on YouTube also. They go in Twitter also. Correct? They go in Facebook also. Anywhere you go, you see their company. Correct? No? Because they want to get more clients. Correct? No? Just as they are attacking from all, Maya is attacking from various ways, we also have to have defense in all the directions. Correct? No? After doing this, still, if we are carried by the mind, that means there is a likelihood that we are not taking the spiritual instructions very seriously. Because it's coming, we know that this is correct. Most of the boys I see, their main problem is their spiritual inputs are not as much as their material inputs. Now the material inputs have increased a lot nowadays. And also in visual input, there are ways to make it more powerful. How early morning, sleep early. And my experience is 3 to 4, whatever lecture I hear, it just clings to my mind. Not only for the day, it goes for years together. That kind of early morning inputs purpose is equal to 4 hours of reading, he says, if you read 1 hour. So we have to then, in case one finds Maya is extremely challenging, then what one should do? Chant more, read more, hear more, sleep early, get up early, and maximize Krishna time, minimize Maya time. Like one boy told me, Babu, if I go for that job, I can get 1.5 times salary. But I am such a weak-minded fellow, Maya will totally slap me, kick me, and take me away if I go to that job. Whereas this job gives me time for reading proper books. It gives me time. I come back early, I sleep early, rise early. I want to do my sadhana well in such a manner that, I can protect my spiritual life, safeguard. Although my salary may be a little less now, I can safeguard my spiritual life. He's an intelligent boy, correct? He knows his weaknesses. So if somebody says, Prabhuji, my mind is too much carrying me away, then that means I need more dose. Like they say, Brufen 200 is not working, then go for Brufen 400. Then Brufen 800, correct? No? Just as doctors give heavy dose, then we have to give heavy spiritual dose to the mind. Because mind is taking the spiritual dose very lightly. And mind will oppose also. Yeah. Actually, mind, the more sick we are, the mind will not be ready to accept. Then the only thing that can help us is a very strong affection for a superior, who is under whose custody we put ourselves. And then you say that you order me, Prabhuji. No, I will do this. Whatever you say, I will do. There are people who do that. Prabhupada's disciples, hippies, how they became reformed because of strong instruction of Prabhupada. If enjoying mentality is too much, there are 2 solutions. Developing a strong affection for a superior and getting a chastisement from a superior. Like you see Chintamani chastised, Villamangal. And Vidura chastised, Dhritarashtra. Then those guys got up. Correct, no? So getting a chastisement. And another thing is affection for a great soul. Like this Bhaktivedantas were there for Chatrumas. So the small boy Dasiputra developed affection for him. In the same manner, if you develop affection for a Vaishnava superior, then the knowledge flows very faster. And then we get inspiration, strength, everything very strongly. Shri Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki.